You may sit down.
Thank you very much.
Evening, everybody, and welcome to the meeting of the full council. I'm going to go straight to the agenda. Okay, item number 1 on the agenda this evening is apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Councillor Lawrence.
No, we should.
You certainly can.
I love you.
This councillor, you.
You'll have to get Tom's now.
You will use Tom. Use spot.
I should, I did, I think they
Like usually like this. Okay. Right, everybody, let's continue. Item 2 on the agenda is declarations of interest. Do I hear any? Councillor Everton. Sorry, do we have any declarations of interest? Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is public participation. That's to receive any questions or comments from the members of the public on any matter whatsoever affecting the town. Attention is drawn to the council's public participation scheme, which is attached. Just stand up, give your name, tell us where you're from, and no more than 3 minutes, please, if you can. So, do we have any questions at all from anybody?
Yeah, I'd like to say a few words, but I've got a colleague here. I didn't read out the most of the crux of the matter, but Mick Key, Henny Town Football Club.
Okay.
It's a reference to training facility, the lack of it for our club.
Yeah.
Nigel will put you in touch and tell you what's going on and how you feel.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
So we've just celebrated our 150th anniversary, the oldest recognised football club in Oxfordshire and one of the oldest in the country. The club is in the best financial and stable condition it probably has ever been, due to the hard work of our committee members, volunteers and players, who the vast majority are young local talent. At last, at Henley Town FC, there is a sense of this is our club and we are proud of what we've achieved. With all of our teams looking good to win their respective leagues, or at least to achieve promotion, things are progressing well on the pitch as well as off it. We fear our progression is being restricted due to being continuously overlooked and not given a fair and reasonable chance to train at Jubilee Park on the AstroTurf. This venue is supposed to be a community facility for everyone, not just for 2 organisations to block foot week after week, year in, year out. We at Henley Town FC have 4 teams, 2 Saturday teams, 1 Sunday team, and we've just affiliated the women's team, who were previously playing under the banner of AFC Henley, boys and girls. But were told last season that they could not continue to be part of that club. Hence, they approached us and were more than happy to bring them on board. This season, the women's team have gone from strength to strength and are an integral part of Henley Town FC. We fully understand that Henley-on-Thames is unique in the fact that sport in this town is unlike any other place in the UK. Rowing is world class, just look at our Olympians. Cricket and rugby are at a very high level. Hockey is extremely popular. Football comes fifth, so we are always up against it. All we are asking for is a 1.5-hour slot, which all our teams can use together on one night, preferably a Wednesday night, between the hours of 6:30 and 9. Tuesday or Thursday evenings could be an alternative, commencing October 2022 through to March 2023. I hope you can see our worries and frustrations, and something can be resolved to accommodate us. Our greatest fear is that we could lose some of our coaches and players if we cannot offer them reasonable training facilities, and all our hard work and efforts would have been for nothing. And we used to have about 15 adult teams, now there's only us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I would like to say that I don't think football's fifth. It needs to be, and especially women's football. I mean, women's football has just done so much in the past few years. It's amazing to watch, and yeah, I fully support it. I fully support football as well. I'm definitely going to look into this, and I'm going to speak to the town clerk, and we will get back to you. Who should we speak to?
You can contact the,
I think Ken's got, we've got your details here, but we will definitely look into this, and we'll definitely get back to you. But thank you very much for that, and good luck with everything. It's great. Thank you. Okay, thanks a lot. Is there anybody else that would like to say anything? No? Morris? No? I
don't understand why the council ordered West Street to West Hill. I was really born up there, and it was definitely West Hill. I've got a book here, going back to the 1700s, and it says in there, West Hill and Workhouse. I'd like it to be put back to West Hill, because it's a street is flat, that's an hill, so.
Very true.
Eh?
Very true. Well, I think we can look into that.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I'd actually like to thank Kelly Hinton for changing Barama Way, and perhaps she could take on West Hill. Succeeded with Barama Way.
Well, yes, congratulations.
I was just about to say that's something for street licensing, street naming licensing. So, and I chair, sorry, I forgot I didn't remove my mask. I chair licensing over at the district council, so I'm happy to raise that as street naming as part of the licensing department. Okay.
Thanks, Morris Hill. Sorry.
No, I've got a book here.
No, yeah. Thank you very much, Morris. And any other questions? Anything else from the audience? No, thank you very much. Okay, item 4 on the agenda is the minutes, which you have, and it's just to approve the minutes of the full council meeting which took place on the 4th of January. So we'll go through. Councillor Hinton.
I just propose
Acceptance. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Gavshat. All in favour? Item 5 on the agenda is reports of committees, and we will start with Deputy Mayor Councillor Michelle Thomas, who will read out the minutes for the planning which took place on the 11th of January 2021. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I hereby present the minutes of the planning meeting held on Tuesday, the 11th of January. 133 apologies for absence, 134 declarations of interest, 135 minutes, 136 public participation, 137 plans new. And going to page 9, 138 objections, calling applications, 139 decision notices, 140 transport strategy group, 141 funding for diffusion tubes, 142 the stopping up of highway order, 143 progress report for applications called in. I do so move.
All in favour? And back to the Mayor, Councillor Thomas, for the minutes of the planning committee meeting which took place on February 1st, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hereby present the minutes of the planning committee held on Tuesday, the 1st of February. 144 apologies for absence, 145 declarations of interest, 146 minutes, 147 public participation, 148 plans amended. Yes.
Yeah, I don't sit on this committee this time, but this was an application for Hobbs and Red Lion moorings, and I was surprised this didn't go through, and I hope the officer at SODC does put it through, because it's disabled access to boats. And if I can tell you, having been in the last 4 years pushing a wheelchair, it's very difficult to get someone from a wheelchair into a boat. And so I would hope the officers put this through, but I can't understand why the planning committee was so against it.
Yeah, by way of explanation, very briefly,
the committee, and indeed I'm sure this council, is not objecting at all to any kind of disabled access to the river. Sorry, apologies. We don't, you know, we don't want that not to go forward at all. It's just that in that location, unfortunately, it's not conducive to disabled access. First, you've got a very unforgiving road with a double yellow line. Secondly, there are perfectly good moorings further up the river. And thirdly, with the objection of the Environment Agency, unfortunately, they have rules, they have declared, and they object that the navigation of the river will be totally unsafe. That's why we have actually objected to this on the grounds of safety. Oh, sorry, I've got to carry on.
Yeah. I was just giving you a breather halfway through.
Right, okay. Next, where do we get to? Right, 149, plans new. And then over the page to please, page 16, 150 objections to point applications, 151 decision notices, 152 climate emergency 2030 working group, 153 South Oxfordshire Vale of White Horse draft design guide, 154 South Oxfordshire enforcement statement, 155 article 4 direction, 156 community land trust, 157 progress report for applications called in, 158 progress report. I did say that. Very much. All those in favour? And now for the minutes of the recreation amenities meeting that's based on the 11th of January. Councillor Crew.
Minutes of the Recreation and Amenities Committee held on Tuesday, 11th of January. 35 apologies for absence, 36 declarations of interest, 37 public participation, 38 minutes, 39 progress, 40 finances, 41, 48 field. Turn over the page. And on to the next page, 44 Freeman's Meadow, 45 Mill Meadow CCTV, 46 filming policy.
Sorry, Councillor, I believe items 42 and 43 were missed.
Were they? Oh, sorry, 42 Mill Meadows electric vehicle charging points, 43 Mill Meadows upgraded car park machines, 44 Freeman's Meadow, 45 Mill Meadow CCTV, 46 filming policy, 47 playground repairs.
All in favour? Thank you very much, Councillor. And now, Councillor Lambert will read out the minutes of town community meeting that's based on the 18th of January.
So I hereby present the minutes of town and community meeting, 18th January. 60, apologies for absence. 61, declarations of interest. 62, public participation. 63, minutes. 64, Henley Bridge light.
Thank you. I'd just like to correct something on the minutes there. It's quite right as worded that it's noted, but normally after a presentation, the chairman does the noting, but in this instance, there was actually a proposer and a seconder, and the vote was taken. And because of planning at SODC, I actually abstained. And I think it should be noted that there was a vote rather than, it wasn't just noted, it was a bit more. The proposer was Councillor Reisman, the seconder was Councillor Hinton. It's on the YouTube, and I just felt it should be noted that it was.
Yes, do.
As it's down there as a resolution in bold, that is something that wouldn't imply that a vote was taken. Otherwise, it couldn't be a resolution.
Okay.
But we could note the abstention.
I think it, yeah, I would like my abstention noted, because if it came to planning, I think it's important.
Thank you. Item 65, communications manager update. 66, finances 2021-22. 67, marketplace road closure.
Yes. I need to stand.
Oh,
Oh, I don't understand. But I'm going to. I'd like to say a few words on this item. Back in 2020, after initial discussions with a few local traders in town, I did suggest that we trial a road closure to allow the markets to spread out a bit, and more especially during COVID, thus allowing visitors to feel a little safer when coming into the town to shop. And I did have a good response from those in the marketplace, from the galleries, the eateries, plus the shops in Duke Street, Bell Street and beyond. And of course, there were reservations from some about traffic and the worry that this would put off potential customers. But to be clear, this was only ever going to be a trial to test our assumptions for the better or worse. To my mind, if it went well, it was only ever going to be a road closure for one day a month, perhaps twice in the summer, but it was never, ever going to be permanent. Part of the joy so far of Henley is that it is open-minded and outward-looking. And having researched other towns similar to Henley, who had temporarily closed roads to help springboard the traders, the feedback has, on the whole, been positive. But as restrictions were slowly lifted, the idea was still to trial the road closure. We wanted to introduce different markets into the town, vintage, clothing, vinyl, and a lot more local, markets that would attract visitors to the town. There was never any suggestion of introducing new food stalls. Why would we? We have sufficient fabulous local restaurants in town already, and those visitors would hopefully shop in Henley and would have lunch. And if not markets during the summer, more tables and chairs in the marketplace for the restaurants and the pubs, music, a safe area for families and children to take stock, have a glass of wine or a meal before shopping. And of course, a safe passage through for the emergency vehicles, as we do with all our marketplace events. Emergency services are always contacted before any road closure, and it would be a bit foolish if we didn't do that. Unfortunately, the coverage of this issue has not been entirely accurate. Permanent pedestrianisation has never, ever been my or anybody else's intention. I live here. I want our town to flourish. For me, the genesis of the idea was around helping Henley thrive, being on the side of the traders, improving the environment, and increasing footfall. I would like to thank all those who supported this proposed trial, those who messaged me in 2020 and who saw the vision I had in mind for the town, and against those who have messaged me recently. A less optimistic person could feel disheartened by some of the comments on social media about this, me suggesting the idea is not crazy or mad. It's how progress is made, it is how we move with the times, thrash out views, respectively disagree and drive the town forward. That's what makes Henley so special. I've been taken aback by some of the discourse about this. There will be a significant amount of people who will be disappointed, including many shops in and around the town. But after much deliberation, I've made this decision that this item should be deferred until the time is right. I do still think we can do this, and it will work for Henley and for all the traders. I think we can make Henley more than just a regatta town. When will the time be right? When we are willing to be open-minded, when we are willing to take a risk and accept that a trial won't be forever, when we're ready to lean in, when it's not an all or nothing or a knee-jerk reaction. The vision of a buzzing, lively marketplace free of cars, fumes, will have to be put on hold. But I would like to thank all the people for responding either way. I do understand that this is a very sensitive issue, and I ask people not to rule it out. But for now, I would like to propose we defer the trial closure of the marketplace and remove from the town and community agenda until further notice. Do I have a second of this? Thank you. All in favour? Very much. Let's move on then.
Item 68, progress reports. I so move.
Thank you.
Favour?
All those in favour?
It's closing in.
Okay, item 6 on the reports of other authorities. Oh, is that President Moore? Sorry. Councillor Rice, would you like to read out the minutes for the finance strategy management?
Thank you very much. The motion to send the minutes of the meeting of the Finance Strategy and Management Committee meeting held on the 25th of January 2022. Item 68, apologies. Item 69, declarations of interest. Item 70, public participation. Item 71, minutes. Item 72, finance. Item 73, expenditure. Item 74, grant policy. Item 75, CCTV and surveillance policy. Item 76, exclusion of public and press. Item 77, legal update. Item 78, accountant recruitment.
All in favour? We shall now go to item 6, that's reports of other authorities. District Council report by Councillor Arlett. Do you have any questions received? None at all. Okay. Thank you very much. The District Council report by Councillor Kelly Hinton. Have you received any?
I have not, but I'm happy to answer any. If
Does
absolutely
anybody have
necessary.
any questions? Yeah. Thank you very much. And the Oxfordshire County Council report, Councillor Gavashak, do you have any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have, yes, I have had a question, and I also have another item to talk about. Yes, within the agreed time, I received a question from Councillor Hamilton, and the question reads as follows. I'll just put a bit of context for those of you who weren't there. At County Council 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a motion passed that at all County Council meetings that vegan and vegetarian products would be the only things that would be sold, that was offered to councillors. And there was a huge long debate of an hour and a half about that particular item. Councillor Hamilton's question is, can I ask how Henry's County Council voted in the recent OCC veganism debate? Well, the answer is I spoke against the motion, and I spoke against the motion. And the reason was that I wanted choice. And I actually spoke with Councillor Bartholomew from Chipway at length about this particular thing. That on all things, there should be choice. There should be vegetarian options, and there should be meat options for those. What does he estimate this debate costs the taxpayer for OCC to discuss this issue? Well, the answer was, you can do the maths, 1.5 hours, 100 officers, 66 councillors. It was a long time. And yes, I think there are more important things that OCC should be discussing. Does he agree with me that gesture politics of district county is less important than potholes? Well, one person's gesture politics is another person's important debate. I mean, for example, years ago, when women didn't have the vote, that could be misconstrued as gesture politics. The important thing is that things are debated, and people come to a view, and then people come to a vote. That's the whole idea of democracy. Yes, I believe there are more important things, as Councillor Hamilton says, potholes. This is almost turning into an agreement with Councillor Hamilton's. Potholes, providing health services, sorting out adult social care and education services. Yes, and finally, does he agree that supporting local businesses, like the Nettlebed Creamery in Motion, which is perhaps more important? The answer is in the debate, yes. I spoke on behalf of hill farmers. I spoke about the farmers in the Cotswolds. And in fact, one of the suggestions I said that one meeting a year should be with products vegetarian and locally sourced grass-fed cattle, beef, whatever you want, or whatever. So the answer to this. However, I diverge with Councillor Hamilton on 2 points, because he says right at the end, perhaps motions, which is perhaps more important than the current daft administration at County Hall. Well, actually, I think the administration at County Hall is doing a fairly good job. And if he wants me to estimate the cost to the taxpayer of OCC, what I would like him to do is to actually look at the waste of taxpayers' money that's going on Downing Street at the moment. The police inquiry, Sue Gray inquiry, millions and millions and millions of pounds of taxpayer wasted money. So that's where his attention should be done towards it. Sorry, Councillor Hamilton, unfortunately, you don't have the right to reply on this particular item. If you wish to move a motion to amend standing orders, then you can. Turning to the additional item. I'm sorry to say that I attended County Hall today virtually for a 2-hour meeting. And I'm sad to say that the Burford 7.5 ton limit was overturned. Which was a great shame because I fought with Councillor Nick Johnson at County to at scrutiny to have it referred to Cabinet. There was a debate. I spoke. Many people spoke in favour and also against. But the 7.5 ton limit, that was a temporary traffic regulation order. It was temporary for 18 months, has in fact been removed. It still does not mean that we won't get more from Henley, and I will obviously pursue the county officers. The new game in town, as far as the county is concerned, is area-wide weight limits. So, for example, Henley and a greater lump of the countryside to be an 18 ton limit, or Burford and a greater lump of the countryside. I will, obviously, in my next council's report, having got more information about where we're going, actually create a report for you, Madam Mayor, and also the council. So it's sad because I think it is the wrong direction of travel for the county. We should be having more weight limits, and we should improve people's quality of life in terms of air quality. And also, we all know about the historic streets of Henley with narrow pavements. The other thing I will be pursuing in the short term, just to finish, is to try and get measures to make pedestrians safer, bollards, so that lorries can't cut corners, etc. I will make that my priority in the short term. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item 7, which is the report from
Yeah, I just want to report on the lead twinning. The Slovenian hayrack has been put up in the field by Gillett, and many of you have been to see it, even walking dogs. It's fantastic, and I'd like to thank Stephen Bennett in particular, who's been absolutely brilliant at driving this project forward. It took quite some time to find a place for it in Henley, but that doesn't matter. But I think perhaps, Madam Mayor, you should write to Stephen Bennett and thank him very much for all his hard work he's done on Bled, because it is something great to see.
Actually, Stephen and I met up some time ago. We've been in close contact and talking about the haystack and hayrack, sorry. And yes, I know Stephen and the mayor, and I think we should be also thanking Park Services and RNA, Councillor Crook, and for all that they have done in finding the appropriate place to put the hayrack. It's going to be, I think there's going to be a grand opening sometime. I'm talking with the ambassador at the moment about having people over. So I think the hayrack and the linden tree, that's so anyway, so yes, that's but Stephen Bennett is, I have spoken to Stephen and I thanked him personally. Items.
Thank you, actually, this may well interest Mr. Hill, actually. We're going to talk about the Over 60s Club, previously known as the Day Centre. I'm not sure who changed the name, but I'm sure we can find out. For those of you who are unaware, there's a lot of action taking place there at the moment. We're going to refit a new kitchen in there, which is not just the kitchen itself. We're going to put a new full ceiling, new floors, new walls, new just about everything for a considerable amount of money And I'd like to thank the Mayor, Councillor Hilly and Councillor Everton that sit as trustees on the committee there. And we've managed to raise an enormous amount of money in a very short time. And I'll probably talk about this in another six weeks' time. But I'd like to thank Nell, the Tony Lane Foundation, the Municipal Charity, Invesco, the Shanley Foundation, and Swarzenbach for donating a large amount of money. And when I say large amount, it's probably enough to for about 4 lots of fireworks. And we managed to raise that money in the best part of 2 months. So I'd like to thank all those organisations. No, I won't be raising money for fireworks, Councillor Hamilton. I'll leave that to you.
You're obviously professional.
But I might make a song and dance about it. So I'd like to thank all those organisations that have donated money to this, and hopefully when it's finished in about 5 or 6 weeks' time, we're going to have a proper opening ceremony.
Fireworks display.
Thank you very much. Councillor Everton.
I'd like to, I think we wouldn't raise the amount, we wouldn't have raised the amount of money that we have raised for the day centre for the refurbishment if it wasn't for Canala's persistence on not taking no for an answer and just trying every aspect of trying to get it from every and when they don't reply, he sends them another letter.
Absolutely right. Thank you very much.
Councillor Eccleston just took the words right out of my mouth there, to quote me now. And as I was going to say, it was all down to Councillor Arler, actually, and it was fantastic fundraising for the over 60s.
Thank you very much. Mayor's civic engagement. Anyone wants to question any of that?
You've got enough time.
I'm still reasonably busy. I mean, it is, it's quite strange actually. I think most people now are holding their civic events and their civic dinners now because it's obviously restrictions have been lifted. But I'm still enjoying it. I'm still meeting lots of super people. I'm at St Mary's tomorrow morning. They've been awarded a Stonewall Silver Award. So we're discussing that and giving them their award. There's so much happening in the town, and it's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure to meet so many wonderful people and organisations. Councillor Everton, Hamilton.
I was looking for your civic dinner, and I just wondered if you had a non-vegan option. It might be quite popular with those councillors from Oxfordshire County Council, including Stephen Gavisher.
Yeah. Okay, item 9 on the agenda.
I noticed the deputy in the paper carried out a function which I can't see on paper. It's Henry Festival.
Yes, yes, you're quite right. We need to include that. I can't remember the date. I paid it at the time. Henry Festival, and item 9, which is the 2022-23 calendar of meetings. Councillor Weissman.
I was proposing we adopt this calendar as on the agenda with one small amendment, which is that the annual meeting that's scheduled on the agenda for Monday the 16th of May is changed to be Monday the 9th of May. That date's already been announced. It's in the current calendar, and therefore I don't think it's a good choice to move it. And I've checked with the town clerk not to have it on. So with that change, I propose we adopt it as on the agenda.
Can I ask? Does that mean that I don't get my full year?
You have to fight with whoever becomes mayor next year for that week, I'm afraid. Or perhaps you can claim a week back from your predecessor, Councillor Arnott. I might give it back to you.
Just a week.
Sorry, did you propose?
I have proposed it with that amendment.
Okay, we have a second. All in favour of adopting the... Sorry, did we get one there? Is there anyone against? We're all happy with that. Well, that